Are you wanting to get started in in-person sales and aren't sure how to even go through the process? Today we have Alicia Crossley and we are interviewing her about her process for IPS. Let's go. Hi, my name is Meredith Rinkars and I'm the owner of The Restart Specialist. If you are new to this channel and you are interested in growing your business in the market you're in or the market that you want to be in, then make sure that you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our new content. So, without further ado, we are gonna welcome Alicia on. Tell me a little bit about what you guys do.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is our 10th year in business. We are primarily wedding photographers. I come from a background of education though. I was an English teacher for 3 years.
And so you guys have this thing called Preview and Prosecco. Tell me how you came up with that name.
Yeah, absolutely. So overall, Meredith, we're very much, our whole marketing is client-based marketing, right? And by that, I mean, we are focusing on our clients consistently to decide what we need to do to attract more of that ideal client, okay? Looking at what their pain points are, what we need to put into the experience to make it stellar, not just the product, but the experience. So overall, I felt like we were doing a really good job loving on our clients, serving them throughout the process of coming to us from the initial inquiry all the way through until the wedding day. When that was over, we were simply emailing them their link to all these pictures, right? And it's like, we've spent all this time with you. We've, taken you to dinner, got to know you. We've photographed your engagements, the happiest day of your life. And we'll just email you over those pictures in 4 to 6 weeks. So it just didn't feel like that was the best bow to put on the end package. Mm-hmm. So identifying that pain point for us essentially meant, looking at how we can make that better for them. What could we do to help them have a final experience with us that both educated them on how to use their gallery, help them be able to understand how to order albums in person, rather than us trying to email back and forth. We were seeing that a lot, a lot of questions from mothers of the brides, from our brides, like, we want an album, how do we do that? And we were missing the opportunity to both serve them and also create revenue from those heirloom items.
Yeah, absolutely. So that really gets into our first question already, which was, how did you get into IPS?
Yeah.
Which, if you guys are watching and you're not familiar with that term, IPS stands for in-person sales. Mm-hmm. And we often have this conversation with people about how it feels icky. It feels salesy. And so how did you get over that icky, salesy feeling that a lot of other photographers are feeling like that blocks them from getting into that?
For us, it was very different because it wasn't designed as a revenue builder. It was designed as a solution to a client pain point. So I think first and foremost, the concept was to serve our clients better. And the thing that was very impactful though, and this is how client-based marketing works, if you do it well, once we were meeting that pain point, we saw the revenue increase. So the ickiness was never there because it was never intended to go after our clients and ask them to open up their pocketbooks and just pour money out for something that either A, didn't want, or B, something that wasn't relevant to our experience. So I think first and foremost, it's your approach to IPS. Are you doing this to provide a better experience for your client, or just solely just to rack up some more money? Because if it is for the secondary reason, honestly, I don't think IPS is successful when you approach it just from the concept of being a revenue builder, right? So when we brought this up and made it really a celebration, right? Preview and Prosecco, they come in, we have a questionnaire where we provide, we get to know what are your favorite foods, what are your favorite drinks, and how many people can we expect? What products are you interested in learning more about? So we have a slideshow set up of some of our favorite pictures from the wedding day. The first time then, they're getting to log into that gallery, see all their images together with friends and family. while enjoying potentially, champagne, eating charcuterie or whatever we've brought in for them.
Yeah.
And it's really celebratory. So it creates an environment where they're able to enjoy this day that they've invested so much in for a final, big concluding event. And then also, though, because we believe in heirloom products, we believe that generationally, those tangible products are so important for them to pass down, for them to have in their home. We then have the opportunity to both let them see and let them be able to touch and feel and discuss what albums, what materials really resonate with them. And that for us, there's no ickiness, because essentially, again, just like on the wedding day, it'd be like, how did you get over the ickiness of being a wedding photographer? Well, I never felt icky about it, right? Because I'm there to serve and love on them, and there's value in that. And we very much should be compensated. There should be a sense of investment for the type of experience we provide. So what we are providing them with is a lovely experience with an opportunity to invest in tangible memories that they've already created. To me, as a fellow consumer and as a wedding photographer, there's nothing icky about that. It's a beautiful experience. What we didn't expect, to be honest, and I think this is what has made it so successful, we didn't even expect this to be a revenue builder. I mean, I know that sounds crazy. Like, I'm in business, money's not evil. It's great when you're approaching it from, again, providing the client with what they need. You should be compensated for it. But we really wanted to educate them on how to use their gallery, especially a lot of our parents, like, no offense, but our moms, and we walked away from our first party with a $6,000 check. And I was like, what is this? What's happening? And this is the cool thing. Yeah, this is the cool thing. And who knew? Maybe the bazillion books on plant-based marketing I've read who say this, when you are able to effectively solve your clients' pain points, you make money. They are happy. That's how it works. We're having even more positive reviews, even more positive feedback on their whole experience. Yeah. And yet we're making more money. So it's like, this is pretty awesome. Yeah, we like it. No one feels icky. No one's icky at all.
But I have a question for you. How do you know what products you want to sell? And that's a big question that our group asks, because some of them are just now dipping their toes into IPS. And so they're wondering, how do you figure that out?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. It's something we evaluate typically annually when we're looking at our pricing structure, what has been successful in the past year, what people are wanting, what they're ordering, identifying who we are, what our brand is, and what kind of client we're hoping to attract. And you want to, you hear all the time, show what you want to shoot. I think also in regards to products, talk about what you want them to buy. Talk about what couples along with the experience you're creating. You have to know your heart as a photographer. Yes. What's important? What is your objective with this photography? What are you trying to give your client? Just pretty pictures? Then maybe just one huge canvas of a pretty picture is what you should offer. Yeah. For us, I rarely pitch just one canvas. We talk about collages, and maybe there's one impactful picture we put there in the middle. But everything is photographed and designed to work together as a coupling rather than isolated. Knowing what to offer, though, the best thing, it's got to be trial and error. Where you are, what you want to accomplish with your photography, and put it out there, talk about it, show it, and then if people aren't going for it, reevaluate that. Is it because you're not educating them properly, or is it because maybe that's not the ideal product for the experience you're giving?
And so while we talked a little bit about products, before we jumped on here, you and I were talking about favorite conferences and, trying to figure out, are we going to this one? Are you going to that one? What are we doing? Yeah. And so one of the big things that if you're looking to get into IPS is to look at places like WPPI or United, we talked about that one, or Imaging, which is hosted through PPA, and they have massive trade show floors. So if you're saying, I'm just dipping my toe into this and I don't even know where to start, you can pick up things, touch them, feel them, shake them, See if they're breakable.
Reach out to your local community. If you have a local Facebook group, it's great, of course, to see them online. And, we're always happy to send pictures of what ours are in the process. But it can be really awesome, if you have a Tuesdays together or, any kind of local networking group or just a couple of photography friends. Hey, who are you guys using? Could we meet up and, look at our albums together? I'd love to touch that one and compare it to this one. Don't hesitate to just, ask local people just to see what the album looks like, And so, and I think that's a great point, Meredith. The product itself is important. The company that you align yourself with is important too.
That is massively important.
And so you need to do your research both on who they are, what kind of experience they provide. Does it go in line with what you're hoping to provide? And so if IPS is your end goal, just break it down to digestible chunks. I would say focus on your 3 top products that you want to start with. Get a good cohesive, concept of maybe with that, these are the 3 albums I'm looking at providing. And I want to see each one of these if at all possible. A lot of times too, it's going to come down to pricing. A lot of the wholesale pricing differs. If you're at a very top end price, you're going to want that to match the products you're offering. If you are an entry level photographer, maybe just now starting to offer products and it needs to align with what your client can afford.
Absolutely.
There are options for that. Now there's a different feel, a different element to a $200 album compared to a $600 album. Shouldn't it be? I mean, And so, but that's okay. If your client is at that point that with what you're paying for an album, like if you're offering $1,000 wedding, of course you cannot offer a $3,000 album. Now, I'm not one to say can't, but I'm also a little realistic at this point in my business, So definitely it needs to match up to your objective, your price point, and overall what you're hoping to provide for your clients.
So we kind of touched on this idea of how often do you change your products with, if you're starting out as a $1,500 wedding photographer, then your products are going to align with that. And then if you are then increasing your pricing to the point where you're charging now, maybe it's 10 years later and you're now charging $6, $7, $8 for a wedding, you can't be offering that $100 wedding album.
No,
you shouldn't be.
You shouldn't be. I think it's misleading, because if you're telling your client you're offering, essentially an $8,000 wedding experience and product, they should expect for everything to align with that level of luxury, right? And it's like, if I walk into Madewell and I'm like, wow, these jeans are awesome, right? And then over here I see the same shirt that I saw literally like at Walmart. Like, wait, what? Like, you guys are carrying DoorDash here? What? Like, not that that's wrong, but if you are providing a Walmart level price point, it all needs to match. If you are more on the level of Target, awesome. You're getting on up to Madewell and then finally Saks, right? And so I always say, it's such a good comparison, I think, when we think about the retail industry like that.
We personally say we reassess every 6 months to 12 months, just because there's new products that come out as well as that increase in your pricing. So let's see here. What is your most common client objection and how do you address it?
Absolutely. So I think for us, the main thing that we've seen, and I think too, you have to say objection to what? What are they objecting to? So primarily, the first thing we're doing is offering them the option to even come to a preview party, to come to the reveal. It's not a requirement. With that objection of, oh, well, I can't make this happen. We can't do a preview party. We say, no problem. Here's a PDF of the full explanation of our album, how we design it. This is the product that is cream de la cream that we want you guys to consider. And here is a $200 gift certificate towards your album should you decide to order in the next 7 days. We go ahead and email over that link, but then we've still provided a much nicer touch to explaining the process of heirloom items. And we still get great orders that way, because the brides don't want to miss out. They even say, and the invitation we send, it's just a little digital invitation with a graphic. We even say, we provide a complimentary gift, a photo gift, and a little, certificate towards your album, and send a message back. Gosh, Alicia, we can't, I'm in medical school in Dallas. I can't come and I want to, but can we still get that gift and certificate? Can we still make that happen? Like, no one wants to miss out on gifts, right?
No,
and we're
no.
like, absolutely. Like, no problem. Like, here's the PDF that goes through some of the steps we explain at the party. And if you order within 7 days, here's the certificate. We'll go ahead and put that all together, and then we're good to go. I would say the parties themselves, we don't always have people order. That's one thing that, again, our main goal is to give a client experience. Exactly. So I don't leave a party disappointed. If my client is weeping and happy, even if that night they don't hand me over a $6,000 check, I'm not disappointed. I did what I set out to do. For me, the revenue from preview parties is a bonus. It's an icing on the cake. Then if no one does order, we do have a system in place, follow-up, okay? We'll follow up 6 months after their wedding. Hey, we noticed you never ordered that album, and I know things get crazy. If you've been thinking about it still, we would love to help you design it. Here's a quick little video of a couple of spreads we did design for you, just to let you see what that wedding album could look like if it came to life. And so we have a touch point there, and then a touch point at 1 year. We do send out a few little discounts here and there. Don't call them discounts. We usually call them, something that just sounds more elevated. 20% off loose prints if they go into a gallery and order. Maybe just client appreciation day, like around the anniversary of our business. So I find that the objections then themselves no longer are problematic, but we're helping very much to work along their comfort level.
We have one more question for you that we've been here beforehand. Biggest tips for a successful IPS session. Now, I feel like you've given us some of them.
Yeah.
What are the
I've got some more. Yeah, I've got some more. So I would say one thing, and I know we've talked about this, Meredith, you don't want to blindside your client with pricing when they sit down at a session. I fully believe it's important to go ahead and be as transparent as possible. We even say whenever they book with us, again, their consulting magazine we have, it talks about the average client invests X amount with us. And that's not the same amount as what they're putting into the wedding, the actual day of pricing. So we're going to go ahead and start letting that information simmer early on that yes, 95% of our brides do a wedding album, right?
Yeah.
So there's expectations set there within their own mind that this is probably something I'm going to look at, right? So you want to talk about it throughout your whole experience. So that way, by the time of the reveal, it's not like they're not like, oh, you have wedding albums? Oh, you offer prints? Like, wow, we didn't know that. That's cool. Like what? And then also with the pricing, we send that out to them whenever we send the invitation, and that's usually about 3 weeks before the party. So they can start asking us questions about the logistics of the investment. Okay, if we do an album, do we pay it all that night, or how do we do that? Okay. And I think too, again, one of my big tips for success, we don't ask them to pay everything up front. We break it down into digestible chunks that could look different depending on your pricing structure and where your ideal client is in investment. But we typically ask for half once the order is implemented and we start the design process, and half when we get the album approval to go ahead and submit for print. So breaking it down for your client, making it easy, making sure that, for the ordering session, the reveal party, there's not pressure placed on them. That's the ickiness that I think traditionally has been acquainted with IPS. And we didn't design it that way. We designed it as an experience and as an education opportunity to help them utilize what they've already invested in. Your clients aren't investing in a product, they're investing in a promise. And so if you are delivering on that promise, then they are going to invest in the product. Okay. So, but the promise has to come first, and you have to show throughout that whole experience of doing their initial wedding coverage that you were delivering throughout consistently.
All right, guys. So Alicia and I just scratched the surface of in-person sales and preview sessions. If you want more information like this, then come join us in our private Facebook group. You can find that link in the show notes below. We can't wait to see you guys there. All right, guys, now that we have talked all about the process of previewing the images, whether it's in your home or in your studio, you're probably wondering, how do I even host that? We've got you covered. I want you to check out our video all about MView, and then make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our new content. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.